Hello, good morning. It's an exciting day to talk business. My name is Blyden Ukem and it's Business 360 on Spectrum TV. In today's Business 360, we'll look at the outlines regarding banking crises around the world. We'll also x-ray the forex market and how these events have affected the commodity markets as well as the stocks. We will begin today's edition with the banking crisis around the world. A group of financial institutions has agreed to deposit $30 billion in First Republic in what is meant to be a sign of confidence in the banking sector. Bank of America, Wells Fargo, Citigroup, the JP Morgan Chase will contribute about $5 billion apiece, while Goldman Sachs and Morgan Stanley will deposit around $2.5 billion, the bank said in a news release. Truist, PNC, US Bank Up, State Street, and Bank of New York Mellon will deposit around $1 billion each. The deposits would be obligated to stay at First Republic for at least 120 days according to reports. First Republic stocks had fallen in recent days, sparked by the collapse of Silicon Valley Bank, which took place last Friday, and Signature Bank over the weekend, leading to concern that customers will pull their money out. The new deposits from the major banks are uninsured. First Republic stocks, which closed at $115 per share on March 8, traded below $20 at one point on Thursday. The stock was halted repeatedly during the session and rose nearly 10% on the day, closing at $34.27 per share. That's the outlook regarding the banking sector and the struggles around that sector. Let's look at the role of cryptocurrency in the Ukraine war. Digital tools have significantly influenced the war in Ukraine. The conflict is one of the most well-documented military campaigns in history and marks the first major cyber war between two countries. Crypto has also played a prominent role in the war. Today, as the conflict enters its second year, over $212 million worth of crypto has been donated to pro-Ukrainian war efforts, according to Elliptic, a blockchain analytics firm. This includes roughly $80 million worth of crypto going directly to the Ukrainian government. Crypto funds have been used to support a variety of war efforts, according to Ukrainian officials and government fundraising sites. Purchases range from bulletproof vests and helmets to demining equipment and drones. Other crypto donations have been spent on support materials like medical supplies and radios. Let's look at the perspective from African. Kenya and Australian Fortescue Future Industries have agreed to jointly construct a 300 megawatts green energy and fertilizer facility in Naivasha, Kenya. This deal was inked on the same day the European Union committed to investing 2.7 billion shilling in a green energy project in Kenya. The EU's investment would be expected to help Kenya achieve a 100% green electricity system by 2030. Kenya is a powerhouse when it comes to renewable energy and currently has a geothermal installed capacity of 685 megawatts. It's good news from a Kenyan point of view. Green energy, the future. Let's talk about Nigerian stories. First City Monument Bank Group lends 20.68 billion naira from the bond market to finance corporates, other financial institutions, trustees, and high net worth individuals. The fund raised under FCMB's 300 million naira debt issuance program in the Nigerian capital market will be invested in the group's banking subsidiary, First City Monument Bank Limited, to enhance the bank's Tier 1 and total capital adequacy ratios, according to reports. This will enable the group, the subsidiary, to expand its support for the growth and development of Nigerian economy, according to a statement released on March 16, 2023. Some good news from FCMB's point of view. No fewer than 28.4 million Nigerians in 26 states and the Federal Capital Territory, including 18,000 internally displaced persons, are projected to face severe crises between June and August this year due to the scarcity of fuel and naira, according to reports. In the March 2023 CADA harmonized analysis, which covered 26 states, it was also stated that about 17.7 million people, including 14,000 IDPs in 26 states and the FCT, were in crisis or worse through May 2023. CADA Harmonize is a tool adopted by partners in the food security sector, usually developed on request by the government as an early warning tool to prevent and manage food and nutrition crisis. The process is led by the Federal Ministry of Agriculture and Rural Development in Nigeria through the National Program for Food Security, working closely with other government ministries, departments, and agencies. Not too good a story, but that's the outlook from Nigerian perspective. Let's move to global economy. As ECB hikes rate to fresh 14-year high. The European Central Bank, ECB, raised interest rates by 50 basis points as expected on Thursday, further pushing borrowing costs to the highest level since late 2008 in order to help temper the region's stubbornly high inflation. Policymakers also said the euro area banking sector was resilient with strong capital and liquidity positions, and that they were monitoring current market tensions closely, while they stood ready to respond as necessary to preserve price stability and maintain financial stability in the region. Meanwhile, ECB President Christine Lagarde explains the monetary policy decision at the Governing Council press conference. Let's hear from Christine Lagarde.
Inflation is projected to remain too high for too long. Therefore, the Governing Council today decided to increase the three key ECB interest rates by 50 basis points in line with our determination to ensure the timely return of inflation to our 2% medium-term target. The elevated level of uncertainty reinforces the importance of a data-dependent approach to our policy rate decisions, which will be determined by our assessment of the inflation outlook in light of the incoming economic and financial data, the dynamics of underlying inflation, and the strength of monetary policy transmission. We are monitoring current market tensions closely and stand ready to respond as necessary to preserve price stability and financial stability in the euro area. The euro area banking sector is resilient with strong capital and liquidity positions. In any case, our policy toolkit is
deposit facility were all increased to 3.5%, 3.75%, and 3% respectively. And the ECB staff now sees inflation averaging 5.3% in 2023, 2.9% in 2024, and 2.1% in 2025. Let's look at an African perspective. From a country that's gone through difficulty, Somalia. The annual inflation rate in Somalia eased for the 7th straight month to 5.4% in February 2023, down from 5.7% in the prior month. This was the lowest reading since November 2021, mostly due to a softer rise in prices of food and non-alcoholic beverages, which stood at 5.4% against 6.7% in January, and as those for transportation flattened from 2.3% rise in January. Meanwhile, prices remain elevated for restaurants and hotels, 9%, the same as in January, while climbing further for alcoholic beverages and tobacco at 84.8% against 36.5%, amid the Somali government's effort to control substance abuse of tobacco and sedatives. On a monthly basis, consumer prices were up by 0.4% after decreasing by 0.5% in the prior month. It would be a good time to look at the charts indicating Somalia's inflation rates. The charts giving a picture of what inflation is in Somalia has shown different outlook. Let's look at it. April 2022 had shown that Somalia's inflation rate had risen to 6.5%, but the trajectory had been upward until it got to July, where the peak of inflation reached 7.7%. But since then, it's been on a steady decline, indicating a strength of the economy of Somalia and a strength in the value of that currency, dropping 7.6%, 7.2%, and 6.9% in October 2022 and further 5.6% in January, and in February 5.4%, showing improvement in the economy of Somalia. It would be a good time to look at the energy market, talking about commodities, and Bob Isino will give us insights. Firstly, WTI futures stabilized after a 7-session drop to more than 8%. Bob Isino discusses this. Let's hear from Bob.
A 7-session drop of over 8.4%, WTI finally stabilizes. 6 of those last 7 sessions were down moves versus the previous day's settlement. I'm not including today, which is up mildly, but it's a very dramatic move, even though it wasn't all 7, down 8.4% or a little bit more than that. Today was an up move of about 0.9%, maybe a little bit less than that. On the downside today, though, we broke 66 again, got to 65.71, not quite as low as yesterday, but still a low number, down 2.8% from yesterday's settlement of 67.71. Then on the upside, 69.38, almost got to 70, up 2.62% versus yesterday's settlement. Now, yesterday we got the EIA figures. Everybody looks at the headline figures, but an interesting thing underneath those headline numbers was refinery utilization. That's the weekly percentage of refineries in use, and it inched back closer to 90%, which...
Thank you, Bob. While looking at the stability in the crude market, let's move straight to the energy market to see what the outlook is this morning. The energy market. The morning market has shown some positivity for U.S. crude amid yesterday's fall, but it's struggling to get past the 68 mark after dropping from the 70-point mark. Current price for U.S. crude, which is the WTI crude, is $68 per barrel, slightly upward by 0.5 points, a 0.79% appreciation. For Brent crude, which is Nigeria's price benchmark, is a little here, a little there. Market has been really stable after dropping from the 80-point mark. Current price for Brent crude oil, natural gas is slightly downward. Gasoline slightly upward this morning. Heating oil, that's the price, just slightly upward. Coal, slightly downward. Let's look at the next market, would be the metal market. A 0.56% appreciation for silver. Current price is $21 per ounce, upward by 0.17 point. A 0.8% appreciation, $0.9 per pound. Steel, upward by 7 points. Current price 4,262 Chinese yuan per ton. That's the outline within the metal market. Let's look at the agricultural perspective of this market. Agricultural market. For soybeans, current price of soybeans is $1,495 per bushel, upward by 4.25 points, a 0.28% appreciation for wheat. Current price for wheat $706 per bushel, upward by 7.55 points. Agricultural markets are gaining slightly this morning. For palm oil, it's 1 point gain after dropping away from the 4,000 mark. Current price is 3,937 Malaysian ringgit per ton. For cheese, it's a little here, a little there. Well, that's the outline and the outlook in the market. It would be a good time to look at the states of the forex market, what the foreign exchange are doing this morning, and make all the concerns from the banking sector. We'll begin with Bill Barish giving us outline and commentaries. The euro is largely unchanged after the ECB hikes rates by 0.5%. Bill Barish will give us his own aspect of this discussion. Bill.
Regional banks in the U.S. were hit hard, with 4 being taken over by the government since last Friday, and the pressure bled into Europe, with Credit Suisse hitting a new all-time low on Wednesday before finding a lifeline overnight last night. The news weighed heavily on the euro as recession fears were revived and extrapolated into a less hawkish ECB. The euro hit a 3-month low on Wednesday before stabilizing. The currency reaction to the 50 basis point hike was tame though, because the ECB lowered its inflation and growth forecasts, which should lead to less tightening. Technically, the line in the sand support is at 106, but the bulls must close above the 21-day moving average at 107 in order to shift momentum positive.
Well, the ideals of a forex market, especially the euro, has been quite stable. A little here, a little there for many, not really going upward. Neither is it going downward. But it had gone past the 1.06 point. Let's check the market and what the details this morning is. The market. The market this morning has shown the euro still struggling to go past the 1.06 point, gaining just slightly in the morning market. Current price is 1.06 US dollar, equaling 1 euro, and on the upward point is a 0.52% appreciation. For the pounds against the US dollar, current price 1.21 point US dollar, equaling 1 pound, upward past the 1.2 point mark, gaining slightly this morning by 0.03 point, a 0.3% appreciation. For the Aussie against the US dollar, Aussie is doing slightly well against the US dollar, gaining 0.77% appreciation. Similarly with New Zealand against the US dollar. Let's also see Naira's perspective among the majors. Naira's performance in the morning market against the US dollar as well as the euro. The US dollar had dropped yesterday from the 460 point mark to 459 Naira, equaling 1 US dollar. For the euro against the Naira, current price 488 Naira, equaling 1 euro. The euro is back up, gaining by 1.5 points against the Naira at the close of yesterday's market. For the pound against the Naira, the pound still trying to recover from yesterday's slump, but it's at 0.834 points negativity against the Naira. The Naira is still gaining slightly to the pound. Current price 554 Naira, equaling 1 pound. Let's go to the parallel market to see Naira's performance in the black market then. What the state of things are in the black market, the energy within the Naira, and the very best of these other currencies. Dollar to Naira, buying rate is 753 Naira to $1, and selling rate 745 Naira to $1. Pounds to Naira, buying rate rather is 930 Naira, equaling 186 Naira to 1 euro, and 775 Naira to 1 euro at the selling rate. It would be a good time to look at crypto insights and a surge in Bitcoin explained amid possible exacerbation. Bitcoin is up 50% since the start of the year. What does this tell? That's a question many people are asking. And what's the future of Bitcoin and crypto? Let's have insights by Jim L'Oreal. Jim.
Major tailwind for Bitcoin has been the rapid change of Fed expectations. And just over the last week, the Fed funds futures curve has moved from pricing in a probability of almost 80% for a 50 basis point hike at the March 22nd FOMC meeting to now a 45% chance of no move at all at the meeting. This according to the CME FedWatch tool. The market seems to now believe that fear over a potential contagion within the banking sector and the possibility of government bailouts, coupled with both major inflation numbers coming in lower than expected, will now put the Fed in near-term neutral and potentially begin eases by summer. Bitcoin is currently trading near major technical and psychological level of 25,000. Now a reminder that CME Group now offers options on both micro Bitcoin and micro Ether futures. We're going to be using the micro futures for these.
Let's look at the crypto market then to see the perspective this morning, the crypto market. Crypto market has shown some positivity for Bitcoin coming back upward. Let's look at the market. The market this morning has shown some positivity. Bitcoin current price 26,084 US dollar for 1 Bitcoin, upward by 1,346 points this morning, a 5.44% gain. The gain continues on a weekly basis, is 29.82% appreciation for Bitcoin this week. For Ether, 1,718 US dollars, equaling 1 Ether, upward by 57 points. But when Bitcoin is rising, the rest of the crypto market follows. And the gains you can see on a weekly basis, 20.39% appreciation for Ether, as well as Binance, 19.3% appreciation on a weekly basis. Let's look at the global market this morning. Global stocks this morning rose. Stocks indexes around the world were in the green and showing some positivity after a group of big US banks agreed to deposit $30 billion into the First Republic Bank, offering investors a momentary relief from the banking turmoil. The Stoxx 600 and the DAX gained nearly 1%, while the Hang Seng closed 1.6% higher. US stock futures, meanwhile, were flat to higher levels. Let's quickly move to the market to see what the states are. The Asian market first. Let's see the state of the Asian market, and afterwards we'll look at the American market, European market, and African market, the Asian market this morning. Looking at Asian market, there have been some positivity, especially for the Japanese stocks as well as Shanghai Chinese stocks. You can see positivity against what happened yesterday. Sensex is upward this morning, 349 points, but CH50 from China is the only stock from our outline that's downward slightly this morning, but the recovery has been massive from yesterday's fall. Let's see the American stocks, what the state of American stocks are this morning. Mainly high, just one being downward. US 30 slightly downward by 16 points. The Ecuador General is a little here, a little there on the average, no significant difference, but USNDX is upward, US 500 upward this morning. The rest of the markets are upward this morning. Let's look at an African perspective then, and afterwards we'll look at the European perspective of the stock market, the African market. The African market has also shown positivity, but some stocks are downward this morning. Egyptian stock is downward, and Central African stocks downward. Nairobi, the N20 is downward this morning, but gains for the Nigerian stock slightly upward, and South African stock upward by 1,041 points. SA40 from South Africa also upward by 952 points. The European stock would make a lot of sense. Let's see the state of the European stock market this morning. Well, the positivity also still from most of the stocks from Europe. Great Britain 100 upward by 61 points. The German DE40 upward by 80 points. Market is moving fast. The French 40 also upward by 20 points this morning, but the Italian 40 is downward by 446 points. The SES35, the Spanish stock, 22 point upward this morning, and the Russian stock is upward by 37 points this morning. The stock market from Nigeria would make a lot of sense then. The equity capitalization in the Nigerian capital market crashed yesterday to 29.91 trillion naira at the close of trading. The figure was negative 1.03% or 313.01 billion naira lower than the 30.22 trillion naira posted previously. Similarly, the all-share index dipped by 574.59 basis points to close at 55,490.2 points. Let's look at the top gainers. Charms led the gainers list with an 8.7% rise in share price, moving from 23 kobo to 25 kobo per share. The top loser, ETI topped the loser stable after shedding 1 naira 20 kobo to drop from 12 naira to 10 naira 80 kobo per share. The top volume, Transcorp led the day's trading volume with 26.08 million shares, valued at 33.97 million naira. That's it on Business 360. My name is Blyden Kim. Thank you for watching.